Since 2011, an average of 126 women and girls have been murdered annually in Jamaica. Yes, you heard that right. Every year, about 126 females are killed. In 2017, that number was even higher, reaching 160, the highest so far. And who is responsible for these killings? Is it someone who is a stranger to these women? Well, the data shows that many of these women were killed by people close to them. Many women and girls are killed and raped by those they know, relatives, partners, family friends, and persons who they think they can trust. Some of these women are still missing, with their families left in anguish, not knowing if they are dead or alive. Some of these missing cases often go cold, leaving no closure for their loved ones. With all these acts of violence against women in Jamaica, it begs the question, is Jamaica becoming a dangerous place for women? It seems like every few months we hear about a missing woman who is eventually found dead or never found at all, leading to public outrage. We see protests on social media where everyone seems to be speaking out, but it feels like these outcries are just a 9-day wonder, as we quickly forget. The most recent case of a missing woman in Jamaica is primary school teacher Danalee, now believed to be dead after the discovery of a body thought to be hers. The 29-year-old woman was last seen on May 13 when she left home in Helshaw, St. Catherine for work at St. Peter Calvert Primary School in St. Andrew. Police say Anglin was killed by the driver of a ride-sharing company who picked her up on the day of her disappearance. The driver was arrested back in 2015 on sexual assault charges. It is not in Jamaica alone that we see the abuse and murder of Jamaican women. In May of this year, a Jamaican-born teacher was killed in Canada. And guess who killed her? Was it a stranger or robber? No, it was not. She was allegedly murdered by her husband. There are so many reports of missing and murdered women in Jamaica, some found, some still missing, and the question is, where are they? Have we forgotten about Jasmine Dean? Where is Jasmine Dean? It's been 4 years since her disappearance, and there's no closure for her family. Jasmine Dean, a visually impaired student from the University of the West Indies, Mona, went missing on February 27, 2020. She was last seen waiting for a bus outside the campus gate, but never made it home. Despite extensive searches and investigations, she has not been found. Two men, Tamar Henry, also known as Braff or Lavish, and Gregory Wright, also known as G, were arrested and charged with possession of Jasmine's phone and bank cards, as well as other offenses, including unauthorized access to computer data and simple larceny. They were also found with breaches of the Dangerous Drugs Act. Despite these arrests, there has not been enough evidence to charge them with her possible murder, and Jasmine's case remains classified as a missing person investigation. Authorities continue to urge anyone with information about Jasmine's disappearance to come forward to help bring closure to her family. What about Danalee Donaldson? Danalee Donaldson, a 24-year-old Jamaican social media influencer, was reported missing on July 13, 2022. She was last seen alive on July 11, 2022 when she was picked up by her boyfriend, Constable Noel Maitland, to spend the night at his apartment in New Kingston. Maitland was subsequently charged with her murder on August 2, 2022. After forensic evidence including blood found at his apartment supported the theory that she was killed between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. on July 12. Donaldson's case has drawn significant public attention, leading to widespread protests and calls for justice. The case has been marked by extensive searches, including efforts to find her body in locations such as the Riverton City dump, but her remains have not been recovered. The police have faced challenges due to misinformation spreading on social media, which has complicated the investigation. Maitland, who was arrested by the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Division, remains in custody as the investigation continues. Have we forgotten about Kenice Jackson? Kenice Jackson, a 20-year-old accounting clerk from Portmore, Jamaica, was tragically murdered in March 2021. She was reported missing on March 24, 2021, and her decomposing body was discovered 2 days later near the Portmore fishing village. Robert Fowler, a 51-year-old mechanic who had a friendly relationship with Jackson and often gave her rides to work, was charged with her murder. Fowler lured Jackson to his home under the pretense of retrieving a tool, and an argument ensued. During the altercation, Fowler strangled Jackson with a piece of rope. He initially hid her body in an abandoned building and later moved it to a ditch. Fowler was arrested after police found Jackson's personal items, including her handbag and bank cards, at his house. In March 2023, Fowler pled guilty to the murder and was sentenced in May 2023. The court considered the brutal nature of the crime, the trust Jackson had in Fowler, and the significant age difference between them. Fowler received a life sentence with eligibility for parole after serving 22 years and 11 months. The judge highlighted the societal impact of the crime, emphasizing that it undermined the trust and safety of young women in the community. Remember Anika Townsend? Anika Townsend, known as Slickiana, was a well-known social media influencer in Jamaica who was tragically murdered in October 2022. Rashawn Patterson, the main suspect, allegedly picked up Townsend on October 20, 2022, and they spent the evening together, visiting a restaurant and a guest house. However, during the night, an argument reportedly broke out, leading to Patterson strangling her and disposing of her body in the sea. Her body was discovered on October 21, 2022, near Reading, St. James. Patterson was later arrested and charged with her murder. Additionally, Ron Rose, a security guard, was charged with misprision of a felony for his involvement. Patterson has repeatedly been denied bail due to concerns that he might not return for trial. Given the seriousness of the allegations and his history, which includes another unresolved case involving the alleged abduction of a woman in 2018. As of the latest updates, Patterson remains in custody awaiting trial. Where is Medic? Many asked in 2023. Stephanie Williams, also known as Medic, was a Jamaican dancehall artist, reported missing on August 24, 2023. Following extensive search efforts and public appeals for information, skeletal remains believed to be hers were discovered on February 14, 2024 in a cane field in Wallen, St. Catherine. The police are awaiting lab results to confirm the identity of the remains. Several individuals have been questioned in connection with her disappearance, and the investigation remains active, with authorities confident in their efforts to resolve the case. Now let's look at two more high-profile cases before wrapping up this video. The cases of Simone Campbell Collymore and Tonya MacDonald. Let's start with Simone Campbell Collymore. Simone Campbell Collymore was a 32-year-old businesswoman who was tragically murdered on January 2, 2018. She was ambushed and shot 21 times while sitting in a taxi driven by Winston Walters, who was also killed in the attack. The incident occurred at Stanley Terrace in Red Hills, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Simone was married to Omar Collymore, who was found guilty of orchestrating her murder. Omar Collymore planned the murder to benefit from Simone's life insurance policies, which were valued at approximately 100 million Jamaican dollars. On the day of the murder, Simone and the taxi driver were ambushed by gunmen who had been following them, based on instructions from Collymore. The hired killers, Michael Adams and Dwayne Pink, were also found guilty of murder and conspiracy to murder. The prosecution argued that Collymore's behavior on the day of the murder was suspicious, including an implausible story about fixing a flat tire while the murders were taking place. Following the murder, Collymore appeared distressed and cried at the crime scene, attempting to portray himself as shocked by the events. However, evidence showed his involvement in coordinating the murder plot, including the surveillance of Campbell Collymore and the communication with the hired killers. The sentencing for Collymore and his co-conspirators is scheduled for July 11, 2024. Finally, let's look at the case of Tonya McDonald, the second wife of Portland businessman Everton Beachy Stout McDonald. Tonya McDonald was a businesswoman and the second wife of Everton Beachy Stout McDonald, a Portland businessman. On July 20, 2020, Tonya was brutally murdered in a planned attack orchestrated by her husband. Her body was found with multiple stab wounds and her throat slashed inside a burned Toyota Axio on the main road in Sherwood Forest, Portland. The investigation into her murder revealed that Everton McDonald had hired Denval Bulba Minot to kill Tonya for $3 million Jamaican dollars. Minot, unable to carry out the crime himself, subcontracted the task to Oscar Barnes, who ultimately committed the murder. The police arrested McDonald after Minot confessed and provided details of the plot. Evidence showed that McDonald wanted Tonya dead for financial gain, potentially from life insurance policies or other benefits. In March 2024, McDonald and Barnes were found guilty of murder and conspiracy to murder. The sentencing was postponed to September 2024 to allow for the completion of an antecedent report which would provide the court with background information on the defendants before finalizing their sentences. The tragic stories of Danalee Donaldson, Jasmine Dean, Kenice Jackson, Anika Townsend, Tonya McDonald, Simone Campbell Collymore, and Danielle Anglin illustrate the pervasive violence against women in Jamaica. These cases, driven by motives such as financial gain, domestic disputes, and predatory behavior, reveal systemic issues in protection and justice for women. The recent murder of primary school teacher Danielle Anglin by a ride-sharing driver with a history of sexual assault charges underscores the recurring threat of repeat offenders. Collectively, these narratives emphasize the urgent need for stronger protective measures, more effective law enforcement, and societal change to ensure women's safety and justice in Jamaica.